Can you walk me through how exactly you'll be impacted?
Yeah, when you look at the impact from the cuts being made on SNAP and even Medicaid, when you combine the two together, we're looking at over a trillion with a T cuts over the next 10 years in the U.S. And just Oklahoma alone, when you look at it from an economic standpoint, and we're already leading the nation and one of the worst states for food insecurity and health. And Oklahoma is a very rural community state, and we know that there's already food scarcity, food deserts, whatever you want to call it, in Oklahoma. And when you the ripple effect that we're going to see by these cuts could cause some of those local clinics that have been around for years, supported by the local rural community, and Medicaid, SNAP have been lifeline supports for many years. They've been that safety net for so many Oklahomans. We could see some of those local grocery stores close, some of those local clinics, local hospitals, small hospitals shut down. And that's where we will see the food bank. When you talk about over the last year, we have seen a 30% increase in demand from our guests going and visiting our partner agencies more frequent, or new people coming out. And so this is before the cut even happened. And so now when you add that on to the most vulnerable that were already facing challenges, this is going to be, again, that ripple effect is just going to be even more challenging. And then the food bank is going to be looked at as like, hey, what can we do to provide more support throughout our network? And here's the volume that the food bank actually has. When you look at, there's two food banks in Oklahoma: Regional Food Bank in Oklahoma City, and then the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma here in Tulsa. We cover every 77 county between the two food banks. We're also part of Feeding America, which is 200 food banks across the whole U.S., just like ours. And in the Feeding America network, we literally cover every single county. So that's a big force, and a large group. And we're having CEO huddles, network huddles, and everybody's communicating and networking together to talk about the challenges we face and what that looks like.
So, what does that look like going forward?
It looks like, for Oklahoma, I talk about this a lot, and let's just say what Oklahoma is. We're a very red state. We're the reddest state in the whole U.S., right? So I don't like to look at this as a partisan issue, right? This is a people issue. Hunger does not discriminate. It can hit, and neither does health. It can hit anybody from any walks of life, faith-based, no matter what your background is. I don't care. Republican, Democrat, independent, it doesn't matter. One catastrophic event can cause a middle class citizen, if they're not prepared or they don't have the family support, the safety nets to catch them, can cause them to be into food insecurity or in the challenges of need, just like our most vulnerables, Oklahomans. And so unity is what we need. I think that Oklahomans have always met the challenge when there's been anything catastrophic, because we're very resilient. We are worker bees. We love each other. I talked about the most recently the Thunder winning the championship, and when you get on social media of just everybody rooting for our team, and that was Oklahoma being unified, unity right there during those times. And I talk about, it's like when we can actually all come together and use that same you know energy and level of unity, we can conquer anything. And so that's what I'm hoping that we can advocate, educate, keep keep communicating what's going on and being very open. But Oklahomans need to rally together, especially the Oklahomans that can help and add support, whether it's financially, whether it's through volunteering, doing food drives, or just checking on your neighbor. That's what we need now more than ever, is unity in our great state.
So, if people want to help out, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, you can always go to our website, www.okfoodbank.org. Obviously, donations are always we're very thankful. We're a nonprofit. We need money to continue the mission that we do. But then volunteering, we had over 12,000 volunteers come through our doors last year. And when you put a price tag to the hours we got, we couldn't survive without them. Food drives. There's always a need for more food. And so just being involved, coming up and learning more about the food bank and taking a tour and seeing what all we're doing, who all we're working with. It's really impressive to see, and that's what we need. We just need people that are engaged and wanting and having the will to want to help during this time.
Just to give some added context and hopefully to really motivate Oklahomans to help, you're saying that it's going to impact, there are going to be impacts. How quickly are we going to start to see those impacts?
It always, every time something like this happens, it does take some time. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be things that happen instantly, but I think and again, I'm not 100% sure, but what I'm reading is that we have until 2028 for really on SNAP to make the changes. When you look at one of the things that was a compromise in the bill of cutting SNAP education out was getting the cost share for the states and the federal government to zero. Is if your error rating with dispersing SNAP is 6% or below. Oklahoma, unfortunately, is above 6%. I believe the last time I looked, we were in that 10% mark. But I think we have some time over the next year and a half to 2 years for us to get better in our error rating of this, whether it's overpaying or underpaying. You take those two numbers, and if we could get to that 0% cost sharing, that's going to help our state a lot there too. So, it's all still new. It's all still new what we're learning. Feeding America again. We have a CEO huddle this coming Wednesday, and just learning more. We're all learning through this space together, and as we learn more, we will be the one to communicate. We will communicate to the community and our partners and let people know. But I'm not 100% sure on all of those, on all the changes and when they're going to truly affect us.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts. I want to go back to, you had said that there was a 30% increase over the last little while in people needing to use the food bank.
Yeah.
What are those folks saying to you in terms of why they're there? Is it related to inflation?
It's a majority. That's the biggest thing is inflation. I mean, we all, even myself going to the store, right? You see it. Inflation is real. And over 60% of the people that we serve are working class citizens that just not making the ends meet. And so they need that extra assistance. That's what SNAP is. It's that safety net to get them to the next 3 or 4 days before they get paid again. And they're having to use their hard-earned dollars to buy fuel, to pay their rent, to pay their mortgage, to fix something that it's broken down. We all know what kind of bills you have to survive. And then food is kind of one of those things, food and health. Those are one of those things that are always kind of put on a back burner for families and Oklahomans that are in need. And so when you cut that, it's just going to put even that much more strain. And so that's what we're seeing. We were already seeing that to begin with. And this is just going to be that ripple effect.
So to someone who's watching this and they're hearing ripple effect, they're hearing strain, they rely on the Food Bank of Eastern Oklahoma, what would be your message to them if they're concerned about in the future they might not have that resource?
Yeah, I would say that we've been here for 44 years and we're not going anywhere. We have been through many challenges. This is not the first catastrophe we've gone through, something that's catastrophic. Is this the first time we've seen something of this nature with SNAP and Medicaid? Yes, it is. But just like everything else, COVID, for instance, that was when it first hit, is like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Everything's shutting down. And the community rallied behind us more than ever, and we got through that. And there was food lines, unfortunately, everywhere that people were distributing food. And I hope it doesn't get to that that kind of nature. But we've always been able to pivot, and we've always been able to meet the challenge. And I don't see this as any different. We are going to work hard for our community, and we're going to keep pushing the needle and pushing the limits, because we know how important it is for us to be here, and how many Oklahomans are relying on the food bank of Eastern Oklahoma. So we really don't have a choice to fail. We will figure it out.